What is going on, everybody? Welcome back. Happy Monday. It's been like 2 weeks since we've been here. We've been out of town working on some fun projects. Got to travel across the country, go to film some really crazy, fun stuff. So all of us were out of the studio, so we weren't able to do this live stream. So we're back at it. So today's episode is really going to be talking about our partnership with Texas A&M and what we did this past summer and how we're going to be, what that looks like moving forward into the next summer. And we're going to be teaching more students. And so hopefully y'all get to learn some things that these students actually paid for. And you'll get to walk away with some really cool things that they've learned, maybe talk about some strategies that they went into when starting this project, and then all the way to the completion of this project. So walking through what that looks like is we had Texas A&M reach out for us to be an industry partner. And so they wanted us to be, they asked us for us to be an industry partner. And basically what that means is that they want us to teach all the students on how to do virtual production. We're the only people in Houston that has the scale and the quality that we've got. So what not to be a partner with Texas A&M. So we had about 25 students, and they were broken into two different teams. And those two teams, they had to make a 60-second, 30-second, 15-second, and a 6-second bumper ad. We're technically a virtual production studio, but we specialize in commercial work. Here in Houston, we're not really known for our feature films, but we are known for creating really cool commercials, and that's what we've got known for. So we asked our students to come up with some really fun concepts. So the first concept that we have right now that I want to talk about is a pirate theme. So I'm going to walk you through what they ended up doing to get to this theme. So I'm going to talk about one team, and then we'll talk about the second team so we don't get a little distracted on what's going on. So the first team, this is going to be the pirate theme, but before they became the pirate team, they had to pitch us ideas. And so this concept that came to us was, they said, we'd like to be able to do a beer company, and we wanted to be pirate themed because we kind of destroyed their dreams whenever they told them that we couldn't do short films. This is not a short film class. We're going to be doing a virtual production commercial. So they still really pushed us to create something fun and cinematic, and the almost as if they're just kind of dabbling into a feature film. And so I thought this was a really great opportunity for them to get the commercial time and then also get to tell a little story at the same time. So they had to pitch their idea. Ultimately, Texas A&M did not want them to do a beer commercial. So in our field, we always get our feelings hurt, or the plan doesn't go exactly to plan. So we had to ask them to pivot. We're like, okay, well, you got to come up with something different. So they came up with a cream soda. And so they had to come up with a brand. It could not be a real brand. That was one of the main things that Texas A&M was really adamant about, is that they didn't want to showcase a specific brand, but that doesn't matter because they had incredible graphic design skills. So they designed a bottle from start to finish. And I actually thought it was a real brand after I saw it. And then after you see the commercial, you'll think it's a real brand too. So once they created the idea, they said they want it to be a pirate theme, and they want to be cream soda. And then, so they had to come up with the stories. So they had to come up with 2 or 3 different stories and concepts within this realm, because I'm the client, and I have my opinion. So I always interjected here and there, and I said, I don't like this idea. I like this idea. I don't like this idea. And so as I was playing the client, they had to, kind of abide by my needs. And I said, okay, well, I really need this. I really need that. And I'm really just putting obstacles in their way, as clients do. So I want to just showcase the first one real fast. And we're going to need to go to full screen, Morgan. And so we'll show the video. And then I want to talk through the whole process on how we actually did it. All right, so we've got our full screen up here. I'm going to exit out of here. Let's go. Boop. Let me go. Let's see if I can change the quality. Yes, I sure can. And are we ready? Awesome job, students. I mean, for me, that does not look like a student film. I have done a lot of reviewing of student films over my career, and by far one of the best commercials I've seen a students make. I mean, it does show there was about 30, almost 40 people on set, including talent and crew, and then the facility owners over at Rudd Productions over in Dallas. So let's just take this down shot by shot real fast. So I like to pause it right here. So starting off, I love to be able to introduce this world with real things because that really helps sell all this stuff. I want to showcase the full length video real fast. You can stay on the screen. We're gonna go to client cut and internal cuts, plunder. So we'll watch the full length because I think they do an even better job at immersing the whole thing. This is the director's cut, so they introduced a lot more shots to tell the full story, and that is from that overarching shot to the map. Awesome. Okay, so I'm happy that we got to show you that one. So we're gonna start at the beginning, and we'll walk you through it. So the students had a full story that they want to tell, and every time they told the story, I was like, "We got to make it shorter. We got to make it shorter because it's never gonna reach in the time frame that we actually want to get." Cancel this airdrop. It's not wanting to cancel. Okay, doesn't matter. So this is an Unreal Engine image. So this is inside of a free software called Unreal Engine. They were able to find this probably as an asset pack and be able to manipulate all the different sun. I mean, they were able to put the ship in that exact spot. So this is, kind of reminds me of like a Peter Pan shot, right? We got to establish what's happening in the film. Immediately cutting to a very unique shot. One of the requirements in the film was that they had to use a robotic arm and they had to create a very unique shot. And so they wanted to be really punchy with it. The first shot that we see, we really wanted, the students really wanted it to be dynamic. So by looking at that overtop shot and then spinning around and then kind of going, that took a lot of coordination from the Unreal Engine people to the robotics operator to the DP and the director. And so they had to really coordinate together to execute on this project. So taking this into a little bit more into consideration. So because this was our first shot or one of the first shots, we had to really nail the background because once you start filming, you got to have that continuity for the rest of the scene. So we kind of did our blocking. I'll kind of walk you through on what is real and what is not real. So these this background where these lights are in the back over here, those are obviously everything behind him. All of that is not real. So we have real candles, our real globe. All of these little items are real. So the best way to tell a virtual production job is done that they've done a really good job is they have lots of really great foreground and midground background stuff, and that will then extend into the background. We blended these two worlds together by adding some haze, and that adds more depth into the image. just, I mean, look at all the detail from the golden coins that they had. They did a really great job. So, and then these ropes back here, they're kind of hard to see, but they're almost touching the wall. So, and that's really to help that layer building. The more things that are like that are in focus and they get further back and further back, those images get further and further out of focus. And so that helps blend those two worlds together. So if you have just this one like treasure chest, and then you have just this background, it's not going to help sell it as much. But since this quill and all these other things are slightly further out of focus, and then it kind of blends it in the background, it really helps tie all that stuff together. So setting the tone for the whole film, cutting back to those real shots. I mean, there's only a tiny bit of sliver of the LED wall, right? And that's just to keep getting that essence of it. Cutting to a different angle. The beauty of this is that we can change our angles. We could do, 30 degrees and move the camera, and everything's going to stay correct. Because with an Unreal Engine, everything's scaled to 1-to-1. So if you have this person, I'm doing the opposite. If you have this person right here standing here and we move that camera in, that background's going to stay the correct scale, which is really awesome when it comes to like changing your angles and doing things really fast. All right. There was a fun gag that Rachel, she was the gaffer and the lighting department for the scene. They put some light fixtures in here to showcase and illuminate his face and make it look really exciting. But as he realizes that it's not what he expected, we lowered the light. So there was some DMX in there. So you had to control it from the iPad to be able to tell the story correctly. Because it would have been a little bit I think of a boring story if we weren't illuminating his face to make it exciting and then to make him upset. He's like, oh. So, and we had him standing in the same spot. We just rotated his body, and now that's still the LED wall back there. So there's no 80 or 90 degree turn. The camera stayed in spot, maybe just lifted up a little bit higher, and then just rotated the Unreal Engine world around. So we're able to keep consistency and lighting and framing with only a few minutes. And so you don't even have to do this shot. We were able to get all of our wide shots on one and then come back to those other shots and then get all these directions. Because it does take a little bit of a relighting in this moment. And this talent, I wish I remembered his name. He was so incredible. Like, he really played this part really well, and he was so patient with the students. All right. This was a big accomplishment for the students. This ship, you saw that the camera was moving, and then we also had our talent interacting. And then in our background, the ship was actually moving. So we had to coordinate what we call the VAD department, the virtual production department. We had to, coordinate the robotic department. We had to coordinate the director and the DP and the lighting team. All had to be working in correlation together to be able to make this shot come together. I'm going to just reverse it real fast just for a quick second. And the mouse is very touchy. You see the camera moving back. So let me cut to our talent, our female pirate. We were outside or inside the ship, and now we're outside on the ship. This one's kind of a harder shot to do. Being in a virtual environment, sometimes it's hard to simulate real sunlight. I think the students did a pretty good job at just making this feel one directional, like as if it was the sun. But the problem is when you're using an LED wall and a really, really bright light source, you have light spill on the LED wall. Right. And so if this was an LED wall behind us, which is a green screen, and there was some light shining onto it, it's almost acts as like when you're sitting in your house and you're looking at your TV and you see the blinds in the television and you can't unsee it. It's exactly the same thing. You start seeing the light that's splashing onto the LED wall, and it ruins the movie magic. And then it's kind of baked into the image, and there's no fixing it. So when having a really, really bright light source on set, it sometimes is really difficult to not get light spill onto the LED wall for you to tell the proper story. And then we had multiple variations of this film, this commercial. So they had to have different variations of the product review. The first time we had the camera just pulling straight back, and the product was in focus immediately. This one was more of a longer storytelling. This is the 60-second of the minute and a half for theirs. They were able to kind of draw out the movements a little longer, but as the students kind of got to watch unfolding, they were like, okay, we got to practice our timing. We got to get these things. And so they had to cut some of their shots a little short in the shorter videos. So we'll go into Plunder. We have some of these are not colored, but it still gives you an example. These are just the internal cuts when they were sending them over to us. All right. Very simple. But in the video production world, we have to have campaigns. We want people to recognize that, when you see this scene in Plunder, you recognize that there's a pirate theme and all this gold and stuff. So variations were very important. So they had to come up with all this different 6-second. That was a 6-second. We'll go to the 15-second. Starting the audio sooner, the dialogue, this is just their timing, getting the practice, reps in before the final edit. And so I'm going to show you some BTS of this. Morgan, we can go into vertical mode. I will go in, pull up some fun clips. We'll go to the bottom. This is the other production. Here we go. So this is kind of like what's happening, a little BTS that was happening on set. Kind of tell you what we're looking at right here. So this is a 6-axis robotic camera arm. And this is kind of distracting me back here. I'm just going to get rid of this. All right, that feels better for me. Sorry. All right, so back here we're looking at our talent. You saw her on camera, and so this little box that's in here is called our frustrum. Everything's going to be happening inside of this. Our camera robotic arm is our motion control device, and that's what's keeping everything synchronized together. It's the camera. It's sending out data into our video game feed that then tracks it, so everything stays scaled correctly. We'll go to this next shot. This is some of the team just talking about what their next shots are. And you see, a lot of people just all talking about how this project works and what's the next shot, making sure that we're all on the same page. We've got our buddy Joe in the background setting up some lights. You can see there's practical set design down here with all their ropes and boxes. They weathered this stuff. So the students were responsible for the set design. So they added torches to these things. They left things outside. They, did a lot of different texturizing to make this stuff look real. Let's go to the next one. Here is a shot from that first shot that we had where the students are. Let me just see if I can get this to go zoom in just a little bit. Yeah. So you can see we had our map with the robotic camera arm, and then so it starts pulling back, and then you can see all the set design back here, right? And that was just to hide the tiny little gaps that the camera would see that was when it was like pointing at the LED wall. And there's like little points where we could see the ground. So we had to do small set design and just placing those things around. You can see there's tons of flags and diffusion, all these different pieces around the set to be able to like really light the scene. Let's go to the next shot. So you can see that they really had real ropes that they had to source this stuff. So, as students, they only have a certain amount of budget, right? So they're having to think very what's my word? They had to really think with their they had to be on their toes about how much they're going to spend. On Texas A&M wasn't giving them unlimited budget to be able to create their film, so they had to go find these resources, and they just did a phenomenal job overall. Some more insight, BTS. Here we go. Morgan, while we're going through this stuff, I'd love to know if anybody has any questions in the feed. I'd love to answer anything that we could do for them. So. This was not done in one day. This was done over multiple days. Each team had 3 days of production, and we were able to show up that day and start pre-light. I mean, there was no pre-light. We just showed up and started filming. So we had the talent for 3 days on this pirate one, and then we have a Frankenstein theme, and they had 3 days on set for that one as well. There was a lot of deliverables that they needed to capture, and each deliverable needed to be not identical to the last. So I didn't want them to just do a cut down of the 60-second video and just make them the clips shorter. They needed to actually make a 15-second that was designed for that 15 seconds. So it didn't fit, so it fit in there. So on the 60-second, they could breathe a little bit longer and tell a story, but on the 15-second, if they wanted to tell the same story, they had to go get new clips for that 15-second video. So they really needed all 3 days to be able to capture all those shots. Thank you, Hamza. I appreciate you asking that question. Here's a little BTS from the shot. It was either a Sony Venice or a Burano. I know it was definitely a Sony camera, and this was a mistake. You got to have your fakes, your mess ups, your bloopers. You knocked over some of the props. Had to do a new take. Here is just more prepping. You can see. Oops. This is an incredibly tight pixel pitch wall. Like Sony is graciously working with Texas A&M, and this is an incredible wall. Like, you can get extremely close before even seeing the pixels. So it was just an honor to even like film on this wall when I have my wall over here and I know how close I can go to it. But the power of this wall is really incredible. Like, look at this. Look at that. I'm gonna put it right there. So that's my finger, and the pixels are so tight you can't even see them at this distance. So what that means is you're able to get extremely close to the wall and have you're not have to put anybody in put the LED wall into focus. And what that happens is you can see it's happening right here a little bit. It's called moire. That means the pixels are being picked up on our sensor, so it starts distorting it. I mean, and I'm like 6 inches away, 8 inches away looking at this, and you're starting to see moire. So the fact that you're just barely seeing it right now is incredible. So that just shows the power of this LED wall. More cool shots with the robot. They had multiple lighting gags that they really needed to make happen. Multipass. Okay, going wrong way. So overall, the students, phenomenal job. This is all them doing some set design, organizing the shot, organizing all the props. Some of the crew that was on set volunteering. Some of the lights. Some of the 6-second videos that we needed to do. So they had obviously those different variations. I'm happy to answer any questions as they come up. The students really wanted this to be a little out of this world experience. So we had a bunch of fog in the background and dry ice that was taking place and kind of fogging as we were filming the products. Super cool effect. Again, this is just one of the other short deliverables, but you can see the attention to detail that they did when creating these deliverables. Little tour of the studio, space. All right. Well, that's pretty much it for that one. So I'm happy to answer any questions about this production specifically. If not, I could start moving on to the next one because the next one I think is even better. It's been to multiple film festivals and has won lots of awards. So we saved the best for last. I mean, I can't say the best for last because I loved both of the projects. Both the teams work incredibly hard on their products. I just love a Frankenstein short. So we're gonna open up this this next one. I'll go to Texas A&M. We'll go to client download. This one, we're gonna go to the internal cuts. It's not a finished product, but it gives you the closest look at it. This one's a minute 18, and we have full screen. Awesome. Here we go. Incredible stuff. It's all virtual background. So the students got special permission to film this commercial. Sisu Robotics it just happens to be the robotic camera arm that they have inside the studio. This one, they really did such a good job. So I really want to break this down. Our talent, I got to give him mad props because he was so patient. You know, this is a learning experience for the students, and so they take a little bit longer than an actual production would take, right? So they're learning. This is an opportunity for them to practice and try it and maybe do it again and get a better shot. So he did such a good job at being such a trooper because he had to do his lines, I would think, maybe a few more takes than an average production would normally. But here we go again. All right. So I'm going to pause it right here. So this one was a very unique shot. The size and the scale of this LED volume didn't allow for us to get our robot up high enough or him to be standing on his feet. So he's actually on his knees right here. So we had to get him really low, bring the camera really low. And they wanted to make sure that all these shots were still moving because we're doing a robot shots. And then there was going to be like some of the robot is going to be filming it and some of the robot was going to be in it. But they wanted to still have a unique look where it still had some movement. All right. So you can see there's some movement in the camera. Now, this is the perspective of the robot. Yeah. So Morgan was asking, what did they use to move the camera when it wasn't on the robot? They used a slider. This camera is kind of heavy. The Sony Venice with this like the prime lenses and the bat box and all the different features and the tracker devices. It gets kind of heavy, so you got to really have it on some sort of contraption or rig. And so they knew that they wanted to have it moving. So each shot they could only go like 3 to 4 feet max. Just by moving. And then they had a first AC keeping it in focus. But on this shot, the robot was keeping focus. And so this would actually be quite a complex shot to do without a robotic camera arm. So I'm gonna play it again real fast. It's happening at the same time. So we've got a dolly, like a dolly zoom with a jibbing effect, right? So it's like this right here. This movement right here is it's pretty difficult already, but introducing a movement beforehand, watch, it's lifting. The only way you can do this is with a robot, and maybe like 100 takes with a Steadicam, right? So you've got the jib move that we're timing with our robot, right? So you can see that it's boom, it's changing. So very complex shot. It was very ambitious for the students, and they really nailed this shot. With the lighting scene to the transition, boom. So I think this one is probably one of my favorite shots in the whole film, just because they really did a great job. I think they ended up turning this into a green screen, and then adding some of their VFX in the background. Oh no, I think they just left it blue or green. But they were originally going to have some like lightning in the background, but that's what's happening on the sides of his face. Back to this again, some DMX having to program this robot to do a movement so it felt like it was alive. Incredible job. They had their other videos, deliverables. And I loved this version. It was a totally different interpretation of the same footage that we got. They were able to remix it for a new story. So kudos to the team. I wasn't expecting this variation that they gave us. So it was like if I was the client, it was an extra perk for me. I got a different variation that I wasn't expecting. So overall, great job, students. I wish I knew I could say everybody's name that was on this project, but you can take me off the big screen now. And overall, the experience with Texas A&M was incredible. We got to help a lot of students film their first virtual production job. And now after then, I witnessed on a couple of other stages a few weeks ago that they all had been on multiple other productions now. So I love the fact that we get to help people grow. I hope this stuff entertains you guys, and I hope you also get to learn a little bit while we're on it. So I'm happy to answer any questions. Come in next week, come with some ideas, some questions. Leave some comments in this right now, even though that we might not be live later, but leave the comments and we'll answer them next time when you come onto the show. So please don't hesitate. Reach out. We're here to teach. We try to have some fun. At the same time, we want to make world-class content. So stay tuned, have some fun out there, keep creating, and we'll see you next week.